Hello everyone, my name is Seth Hamblin, and today I want to inform you of an important day that you may have missed last week. That would be the 75th anniversary of the invasion of Normandy during World War II, also known as D-Day. On June 6, 2019, veterans, their families, government officials, reenactors, and thousands of other men, women, and children paid tribute to those who fought on the D-Day invasions during World War II. World War II was the most devastating struggle in world history, and D-Day played a major role in ending that horrible conflict. First, I would like to start by discussing the preparations for D-Day, then I will get into the details of the invasion, and at the end, I would like to discuss why it is important and what we can learn from it. By May of 1940, the Germans were able to drive the Allied forces out of northwestern France and back to England. The war was not looking good for the Allies, which mostly consisted of England and their empire, and later the United States. Plans were started in November of 1943 to cross the English Channel and invade northwestern France in what would be codenamed Operation Overlord. Hitler knew an attack was coming, so he placed Erwin Rommel in charge of all German defenses along France's northern coast. Rommel constructed what would be known as the Atlantic Wall, 24,000 miles of fortifications, landmines, bunkers, and water obstacles. In January of 1944, United States General Dwight D. Eisenhower, later President of the United States, was placed in charge of Operation Overlord. Many deceptive tactics were used to make the German think an attack was coming elsewhere. Fake equipment, fake radio transmissions, double agents, and even a fake army was created with inflatable tanks and trucks, all to make the Germans think an attack was coming elsewhere. During the planning of the invasion, Normandy beaches were divided into 5 code names. These would be Omaha, Utah, Gold, Juno, and Sword. The British and the Canadians were tasked with landings at Gold, Juno, and Sword, while the Americans were assigned to Omaha and Utah. Now that you know the buildup and the preparation to the invasion, let's discuss the landings and what happened on the day of the invasion. During the night prior to the invasion, thousands of paratroopers and glider divisions landed behind enemy lines to secure bridges and roads. This would make it all the much easier for Allied troops and vehicles to move off the beachheads once the troops had landed. The invasion of Normandy began at 6:30 a.m. British and Canadian forces ran into light resistance at Gold, Juno, and Sword, and Americans met light resistance at Utah but suffered heavy casualties at Omaha. According to History.com, the Americans lost 2,000 troops at Omaha Beach due to well-placed German defenses and machine guns. One of the most courageous parts of the D-Day invasions occurred at Point Du Hoc, where the American 2nd Ranger Battalion climbed a 100-foot cliff to capture German artillery. This was a crucial mission because the Germans would have fired on the troops at Omaha Beach. It was due to these brave men that allowed for the D-Day invasions to be successful. By the end of the day, 150,000 troops made it onto the beaches in Normandy, according to dday.org. And according to telegraph.com, a UK newspaper, 4,413 Allied servicemen lost their lives during the invasion. The beaches were declared secure on June 11th, and by then, 326,000 troops, 50,000 vehicles, and 100,000 tons of equipment landed at Normandy. During the invasions, the Germans were in a state of confusion due to lack of leadership. Hitler believed the D-Day invasion was coming elsewhere. He failed to mobilize units to form a counterattack and led to an even greater defeat for the Germans. Allied forces fought through fierce German resistance in the countryside. They were able to secure vital ports and continue their journey across France. So now we have discussed the major plots of the invasion of Normandy. Now let's talk about the results of the battle. In late August, the Allies reached the Seine River, and the Battle of Normandy had been declared victorious. On August 19, 1944, Allied troops marched into Paris with the Germans in retreat. The invasion of Normandy helped the Allies change the course of the war, and on May 8, 1945, the Allies accepted Germany's unconditional surrender. So now we have reviewed the preparations of the attack, the actual invasion, and the result. Now let's talk about why it matters to us as Americans. We remember D-Day because we are grateful for the servicemen and women that fight for our freedom from tyranny. If the D-Day invasions were unsuccessful, We don't know, but the Germans may have been able to repel the Russians in the east, which would have led to a longer, more bloody war. D-Day marked a turning point in the war that would lead to millions of people in Europe being freed from evil and injustice. Thank you for listening to my speech, and I encourage you to remember this momentous day, and I ask you to always thank your servicemen and women. Thank you.